So today's topic, okay, we've got, all right, everyone's filtering in. Again, as usual, if you're joining us, whether it is on LinkedIn or you're joining us on Zoom, make sure to just drop, company and your role. KD and I really try to make sure that we tailor parts of the conversations. If we see a lot more people like, hey, I'm an account executive, I'm a VP of sales, I'm a CRO, like, let us know. So there you go. Bonnie getting us started. Drop it in there. It helps us to make the conversation even more and more applicable. The other thing I would say is questions. Start to drop. KD and I love questions. Okay. Why? Because it allows us to get very specific for your use case. I tell everybody, be selfish in these things. Nobody can see you anyway. You can there's even in the Q&A an anonymous button if you're really worried about it. And if it's about your boss, maybe drop it in there, anonymously. You never know. So good. All right. We got a good mix, KD. It looks like leaders.
I got some of my peeps in here. I got some of my peeps in here right now. I saw Stelly. I saw Maggie. Bonnie's up in here. I got some OGs on here right now. I love it.
Well, hey, man, when you're a great people leader like you, KD, it's like flies to honey.
All smoke and mirrors. All smoke and mirrors.
Ryan wants to know what's up with the watch.
What's up with the watch? Tells time, baby. Tells
Let me
time.
see it. Let's see that thing. Let's see that.
Well, this is my little.
All right, I like that.
Navi. So it was a gift to myself. Funny enough, actually, last year, and my wife forced me to buy it because I never spend on myself.
I love that, man.
You're very like we spend on our fam, spend on our girls. My wife was like, if you don't buy that for yourself, I'm gonna buy it for you, and that's a waste. Because they went your birthday gift, so go and get it. So no, it means a lot to me every single time I put it on.
I love that. Yeah, I literally bought. People are mind blown. I'm 43. I bought my first ever new car this year. I never bought a new car. I don't know why would I do that. It's just not practical. You lose the money as soon as you drive off the lot. But it was the same thing. As the same. Like, you know what? I'm buying this.
I've had it on the list. I've had it on the list and the board for so long, right? And I could have afforded it years ago, but just I couldn't do it, right? I buy my wife the car, I buy my girls the trips, right? And so she forced my hand. But now I got it. I love it. All
right. Okay. All right. Love it. Again, lesson for everyone you didn't know you were going to get today. Take care of yourself. I just finished my workout, feeling good for the day. Take care of yourself. Buy yourself something. You deserve it. There you go. You have permission. Buy yourself something. And then, if your significant other gets mad, just be like, well, look, I was on this meeting and these two guys said, I got to go buy a new car.
They told so.
All right, everyone. So let's get into what you came here for. Pipeline generation, ChatGPT. I think we knew this is going to be a hot topic. We got 100 plus people here in Zoom. We got another 60 or so folks. A lot of AEs on the line here as well. Some co-founders. Looking at some of the folks over here on LinkedIn. We got some folks coming in from Miami, coming in hot. Berkshire Hathaway. I love realtors, man. Oh man, I love so much of this stuff is super applicable. I'm going to blow your mind with some of the stuff that you're going to be able to do. Whether you're a B2C sale, B2B sale, obviously a lot of the use cases we're going to talk about are B2B, but look, there's definitely a B2C slant. So pipeline generation, KD, this is the one that a lot of people, when they first probably got introduced to ChatGPT, this is probably the use case that a lot of people got introduced to, right? Which is like, it's probably another one of, and I kid you not, I tried to count, I counted like 20. Our AI helps you write a better email, right? And so like we've had those tools pop up. For you, what was it about ChatGPT around pipeline generation outside of like, messaging, and we're going to get into the details. What was it for you that you're like, oh shit, like this is different?
Speed. And as we dive into examples for it today, like we'll show why it had actually very little to do with the writing of better emails. It was actually all the other things that you need to do to write a good email that it made it faster. That's what made it so powerful for me is like, okay, what do you need to do to write a good email? Research. That can be done at speed. You need to connect the dots between multiple ideas. You can do that at speed. You need to consolidate information. You can do that at speed. You need to connect different things in your system. Like, that's why I think this is so exciting for pipeline generation, is all the things it takes to create good messaging. It can help you do faster. I've yet to see it write a better email than someone who's talented at it until you get into some crazy prompts. But getting the things in a rep's hand quickly, then it starts to do something. We're going to show y'all some prompts today to make your messaging better. But that's why I got it.
Get ready. That's exactly. Yeah, speed's the right speed. And I will say quality too. Like you said, the top reps, but woo, wait till we show you what you can do with this stuff in terms of research. And I might even pull up my ChatGPT. I've got Web Pilot enabled on it. I was telling KD I was looking for a bunch of stats to make some points of mine stronger in a chapter I'm writing, and it's like, man, it just crushed it. It's like, so anyway, we'll get into it. Another amazing announcement for all of you as well. We've been working on this for 6 weeks. It is probably the most common question we get asked. Jake, this is amazing. Like, holy crap, like my mind is blown. Where do we get all the prompts? So KD and I and the team, shout out to Brian, shout out to Becca, have finally put out V1 of our private Notion community. And the goal of this too, you guys are going to see, it's $50 for the year. So, and we're going to continue to update it. It's just covering costs. We want to do this for the community. We believe that this tool is going to transform all of you watching this, and we're going to continue to update this. So right now we've literally uploaded for all of the different, pieces within Notion, 50 prompts that kind of fit 5 of the top ones here, leadership prompts, how to work with your team better, all kinds of different things as well too. It is going to be something you go back to daily. We've really tried to do that. You all, and we want to learn from you and want you to learn from each other. So in the comments, you can say, hey, I've got this new prompt. So we really see this being a groundswell and really the first place for salespeople to go who want to become experts at saving themselves hours and hours of their life by being better prompters. That's like a new.
Well, and so to your quality point though, too, people right now are already saving time with prompts, but then they're getting bad answers. So it's
exactly
the prompt, y'all. It's everything. And so being able to do it the right way saves time, because it doesn't make any sense to save time but have a bad outcome. Whereas if you time and are getting better, and then you can reuse it. So like get into there, y'all. Like, it will change your answers. I know there's some people on this call, and I've got messages from people on LinkedIn where they're like, I tried it, man. Like, it's bad.
I tried it.
And then I say, show me your prompt. I'm gonna make that a t-shirt. Say, show me your prompt.
Show me the prompt.
And be like, write an email to Jake Dunlap that will convince him to take a meeting with me.
Yeah, exactly.
And we wonder why it didn't work. So yeah,
I can't believe it was dog shit that it didn't get me the actual result that I wanted. All right, here. Hold on a sec. All right, there we go. Just moving some stuff around here so I can get you all what you need. Okay. All right. So we're going to dive into it without further ado. Hopefully all of you are signing up as we speak. Also, I think I mentioned this. No, I'll talk about it a little bit later too. We just had our first corporate workshop kickoff yesterday with the folks over at Madison Square Garden Entertainment. You know them as like the Knicks, the Rangers, Liberty, etc. Your favorite concert. 40 plus sales reps getting up to speed. If you and your team, as we talk through this, you're like, Jake, look, this is great. I need this specialized. We're going to have some stuff to talk you all through as a part of this. So let's get into it. So if you all don't know, if you follow me on LinkedIn, every quarter I do the same survey, and it says, how many of you are actually hitting your outbound targets? This quarter was no exception. And the number just continues to go up. How many people? 70% were no. 13% were like, yeah, within 10%, and 17%. That means 83% of people are not hitting their outbound goals, right? As a part of this. Why is that? Okay. Why are people struggling? Okay. And there's a lot of reasons, for that. So we're going to drop a poll here. You can tell us, are you hitting your outbound goals? So let me see. We got it here. Yep. See, yeah. Becca's on point. She's already got it preloaded, all this stuff. So let us know. Maybe you are. Maybe you're in that there. Oh, we got some yeses. We got some people flying in here. All right. Dude, this is wild, Katie. I don't know if you're looking at the percentages. It's like
I can't
there's
see
more
them.
close. There's more close.
To...
Oh yeah, you can't do it until I say in the poll. But there's more people that are closer on this call. It makes sense, right? They're the smart people that are trying to get better, as a part of this. So I'm just going to end the poll so y'all can see the results, but pretty dang similar. So there you go. You all can see the results now. Can you see them now, Katie? Yeah.
Got it.
There you go. So we got 3% more people on this are hitting their number, right? As a part of this, and a few more on the close. And look, for me, man, it's not surprising, right? We've over-architected, and Katie and I could do a whole state of outbound, conversation around this. But we're not going to do that today. But there's a lot of reasons. We've talked a little bit about some of them, again, this focus on people spending time in ways they shouldn't be spending time, quality of the messaging, all these different things have a very, very big one. So the two areas that Kevin and I have boiled down as being the go-to areas that can impact your life around this: prep and research and messaging. And so the prompts that we're going to dive into are going to be focused on how to do better prepped and prompt, and then how to then turn that prompting into very targeted, specific, whether it's a mix of, and Katie loves this, this term too, which is like, what is it, Katie? There's personalized and there's relevant, right? So, how to turn it into relevant insights or personalized insights. So Katie, I'm going to turn it over to you. We're going to go into the kind of the first, set here, as we go through this. So again, the rest of the sessions, if you're curious, you're like, okay, guys, you guys are doing a bunch of sessions on this. We are just literally at the tip of the iceberg here. So today is, personas in research. We're going to start talking about how to use it to close more deals. We're going to talk about how to use it to grow your current customers. And we're going to continue to double down on, how leaders can use it to build skills, with their team. But again, today is going to be all about prep and research. Again, to me, there's kind of these three use cases. There's industry. It can be difficult, especially if you sell into a bunch of industries. My gosh, like if you're in one of those companies, you're in an IT consulting firm or something where you sell into so many different people, so many different personas, it could take you a year, but not with ChatGPT, right? To get up to speed on some of this in real time, company prep, individual prep, etc. All right. So before I turn it over to Katie on prep and research, let me tell you all about custom instructions, right? This is I think less than a month old, maybe less than a month old, I think.
Yeah, I think we're right at 4 weeks now.
You think? Yeah. And it's dope. It's dope because I'm going to tell you some other stuff that it does as well too. Custom instructions. So again, we'll say this on everyone just so people know. Some people still don't know. Each thread that you write in ChatGPT is its own child brain. That's the way I put it. It's like they don't talk to each other. And so what that means is the prompts we're going to show you don't include having custom instructions, but you can add custom instructions to shrink your prompts, because what custom instruction says is say, hey, all my little baby brains, all of you need to know this one thing going into it. And you can tell it, here's what we do. Here's how we make money. Here's what our products are. Here's who our personas are. Here's typical objections. Imagine what you can do is start to help it to understand what you want it to be. And then you can tell it how you want it to respond. We talk to a lot of IT leaders. So be direct, be technical, do these things. So you can tell it how to respond as well. And then you can see here where it says enable for new chats. You can just turn it on and off. So, you can just imagine it's like, okay, I've got a situation. I want to get better. I want to do research. I'm going to turn on my captive audience, custom instructions. So the rest of my, threads are going to make sure that they know this. And then I want to go back. I'm doing some more general research. I'm going to toggle it off. I don't need it. So Katie, again, I know you're passionate about this too. What are some learnings you've had about custom instructions? Because everybody needs to be using them for sure.
It speed things up, but the best with all this is test it. Test it until you're getting the types of answers that you want, right? Is like we tested some things on something we're working on. If we tell it to talk like a consultant, it talks differently than if we tell it to talk like the persona, and it talks differently if we tell it to talk like a manager or coach. And so it's like you want to find that sweet spot around like how you want it to respond and keep dabbling till you get to where you need it to be. So that's a big one, but it just speeds things up, y'all. Again, back to my opening point around speed. Once you know how you want it to respond, you can do that in every single thread without having to retell it, because those used to be prompts. You used to have to fill all that out with a prompt to preamble the responses, and that just takes too much longer, right? Mm-hmm. So those are the things that we need to pay attention to that set up the prep and the research here.
All right.
So I'll just keep going on this one, okay? Yeah. So because this one I'm very passionate about, having led sales teams and leading sales teams. So I hear this all the time. It's like, why is activity low? Or why are we not working enough accounts? And the response will come back is like, well, I'm spending so much time researching. So much time researching. And I go, okay, let me pull up your emails. And I pull up those emails. And what do you think I don't see in a lot of those emails, Jake? They've been spending all this time researching. What also is
personalization of any, or relevancy or personalization.
Right. So wait, we're doing all this research, but we only personalize the first email at best. We're doing all this research and we don't have it come across in our voicemails and our opening lines. We're doing all like, so this is one where reps, and I'm speaking to y'all right now, reps heart to heart. Oftentimes we use research as a procrastination tool to not do the hard things like pick up the phone, record the email, record the video. So this on the prep side, not only is it faster, but also it helps you actually know, like, what are you looking for? Because that's the other part is like when you're watching reps research, what do you research? Like, what are you looking for? What do you like? Oh, just to find something. Whereas with you're using ChatGPT, it's like, this is what I'm looking for. And that drives the result better versus like what's going on with the company. So like, this is one where you can put in their website, you can put in their 10K, you can download their white papers and put it back in and say, what can you tell me about this? I love doing like the leaders of leaders research. So if I'm going after like, someone on your team, Jake, I'm also using you. I'm researching you to see how I can connect the dots back to my message to like Becca or Brian, right? So I can do way faster multi-threaded research on an account way more intentionally.
Oh man, that's one of my favorite use cases. I don't know if we have an example in this session or one of the future ones about like how to do complex deal or even thinking through what those interactions look like. And it is bonkers, like what the stuff that it comes up with. So I love it. And to take this to the next level, I want to talk about plugins. I walked somebody through this literally held their hand through it. For a lot of the type of research we're going to talk about, one, you're going to want the paid version. Somebody talked about it. It is $20 a month, people. Spend the freaking $20. Don't order lunch in one day. Okay. Order lunch in one day not from DoorDash and pay the $20 a month. Okay. If you're that concerned about it, because this is, again, these are the ones that I use, just so you all know. These are like my go-to plugins. There's a ton more, and I mess around with some other ones. WebPilot. Why do you want WebPilot? It lets me search current information and online. I can copy and paste in links, and it will go and it will basically pull for me. Ask your PDF. I can send it a link to a PDF. It lets me query the PDF. Vox YouTube transcripts. You could also do your Gong calls or your Chorus calls or your Zoom calls. So these plugins are available. They're 100% free once you paid for the paid version. And so if you don't know how to do it, you're going to see your little name in the bottom left corner. There's going to be 3 dots. You're going to click the 3 dots. You're going to go to beta, and you're going to want to make sure plugins is toggled on. And then when you're up and you'll see ChatGPT 3, ChatGPT 4, right underneath it, it'll say plugins. You'll click on plugins, you'll go to plugin store, and boom, here you go. Now you're here. So that's how you enable plugins, and you're going to need those for some of these searches. All right, Katie, I'll let you kind of, if you want to talk through like a good example of an individual, like a company / like individual prompt here.
Right. So if we look at some of the things you want to know about a company, right? Well, you want to know about priorities. You want to know about recent changes. You want to know about initiatives. You want to know if they've voiced anything around struggles or anything else. So that if you look at our prompt here, I want to book a meeting with blank, right? So we're putting in like who we are trying to set a meeting with, right? And based on what you can see on their investor relation page, another link, and their main page, another link, can you summarize 3 of the top priorities for the company based on what they are talking about consistently? Okay. You know how long this would take you to do if you were just doing it page by page? Because also, again, talking to my reps, and I'm going to talk to leaders because you know it. Reps, what happens when you're researching? To almost out here, we're in the nest right now. Don't worry, we won't share the transcript. But when you're researching and you're scrolling through BlackRock's website, what almost always tends to happen while you are researching?
I open LinkedIn.
Rabbit hole shows up. Who gets distracted a little bit? Maybe that Slack ping comes through. Checking out your fantasy football or whatever.
That's right.
Ooh, go to PDF to you go down this rabbit hole. Oh my God, how did I end up on TikTok? Is that Jake dancing? Right. Okay, I know. This keeps you focused on what you're looking for on these things. And can you summarize? So then, like, look at the answer that it gives. Okay, equity investing for new era, factor investing, diverse investment opportunities. Could we write a really powerful email already to multiple personas in there? Right? Like, look at what this spits out that we can then also, and this is the one, actually, Jake, I don't know if there's a plugin for this yet, but how to put, you got to put this information like in your CRM. Like, so it lives.
I don't know.
Like, I just thought of that. We might have to look and build our own plugin because
like that.
if this pushed into your Salesforce fields, you can reuse it over and over again. But look how fast this was to get this sort of insight on what BlackRock is focused on that you can connect the dots to in order to try to book this meeting to make the messaging, right? This is account planning in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, right?
And to your point too, if you have custom instructions turned on, you can say, you can take it a step further, and you can, you could write the same prompt and then say, based on what we do, take the initiatives and tell me the top 2 most likely ways that a company like ours could cut through the noise. Right? Like, you can then continue down this and it will just get better and better. David asked a good question. Could you get the same similar results substituting their LinkedIn profile? So LinkedIn is being a bit of a not nice, meaning you cannot, LinkedIn will not let ChatGPT index it. So if it sees a scrape coming from ChatGPT, it won't allow it. What you can do is copy and paste in someone's LinkedIn profile. So you cannot, as of right now, who knows, maybe this will change. You can't just copy and paste a LinkedIn profile and have it return that information. So
the other quick hack there, actually, Jake, is you print their LinkedIn profile and save as PDF.
Oh, there you go. Love that.
So like, go to the LinkedIn profile. If you can view it, click print, save as PDF.
Save as PDF. Auto
PDF
it.
Use your the plugin.
Done. Even easier. It doesn't mess up the formatting or anything. Love that. All right, next one here. Again, you could, with custom instructions, you could just get rid of this persona and industry stuff. But if you don't, again, explain the typical duties and obligations for the following persona. Explain the common challenges or pain point they face. Here's the persona. Here's the industry, right? And what it's going to do. And then again, just imagine where you can kind of continue to go with this rabbit hole, right? Then from there, and like rabbit hole in a good way, right? Which it would be like, okay, now insert link to my product page. Okay, here's what I do. Here's what I sell. Typically, these people object for these 4 reasons. And by the way, just so you know, all these kind of advanced prompts that KD and I are kind of riffing, all of those like very similar ones are in the Notion page. So when you sign up for the Notion community, we've got some like much more robust examples. For a lot of you, we're just trying to expose you to like step 1. But just, and again, this is when, when KD and I get, talking about this, it's like, this is where it gets really interesting because you could just continue to go down the rabbit hole, of like making it more specific, more direct, et cetera. So whether you're researching a persona, especially if you're a new hire, you just want to get better, this type of role playing, whether it's for a specific individual, whether it's for a company, whether you just want to drill on the persona, is going to make you exponentially better. If I started at a new company, basically I would set up my ChatGPT custom instructions and I'd just be role play. It used to take you 6 months to get these types of at-bats that I can get a new hire in a week. I can get a new hire in a week, exposure to different industries, different personas, different types of people that used to take 40 meetings to run. That is the power of this. And a lot of you probably need to re-onboard yourself, right? Or sales managers out there, re-onboard yourself. All right, messaging. So let's talk about messaging, right? It is very good at that, just, let's get into it.
Yeah. So let's go messaging here, right? Because more often than not, people's messaging sucks because of what they're feeding it is bad, right? You have to do that pre-work to have great messaging in here. You have to do that pre-work. We can't just sit down and say, hey, write me an email to this CEO or this CFO. So you can notice here, right? You have our prompts. Pretend you are a CFO of an industrial manufacturing, company. You influence the purchase. My company solves this. But the top 3 things I should put in an email and then follow up, right, with a LinkedIn message. Well, if you just did all that pre-work, you're able to pull that in 3 of like, I actually already know these things. I know the pain points. I know what I'm looking for. And then you can go even further on giving it how, this is the big one, how to write a good email, right? So when y'all see this answer for the email.
Yeah, don't put dear, right?
Yeah, this is the email content. This is not the actual email that you should send, right? This is the email content. These are things that you could pull in and pull through, right? So example, like dear, okay? ChatGPT is still like 1980.
It's very polite. It's very polite, Katie. And I tried to tell it once because I got sick of it. I go, be more mean. And it said, I'm sorry, I cannot do that. I will not be mean. Then I'm like, okay, be more direct.
Be more direct. Start every email with yo. Okay, however you want to do it. Okay, right. I hope all is well. Avoid it.
Like that one. So.
Okay, right. Our analysis of the manufacturing sector suggests that companies like yours face challenges in scaling marketing efforts while ensuring ROI. Our revenue strategies increase. Right. So it gives you something to work with, to change and update. Right. When it comes to emails, almost always I respond back with thank you. I like it. Now write it as though you were writing it to a best friend. Like write it as though you were writing to a good friend. Can we use a little bit simpler language? Something that they could like, I'll have to pull one up. Not what's the word? Like something they could, let's quickly read.
Like skim?
Skim, there we go. Something they could skim quickly and understand the gist of, right? Digest, right? Like it's very subtle. But this right here, this is already, by the way, a little bit better than what most emails are in my inbox.
Yeah, I would say this is better. Like from what I get, this is already like 90% better. Yeah. There's probably top 5, maybe 95% better than, better than like the top that I get. Because again, like it's giving you these. And again, what you can do too is, again, you can continue to feed it more information too, Katie. It's like the ability to then say like, okay, be more direct, like you said. Again, somebody put in her, say it in less than 200, words.
It's never one and done, y'all. That's where I see a lot of people missing with ChatGPT is totally. They ask it once, they get the answer back and they say, I don't like it. But they don't actually then explain, well, I don't like it because that's too long. Could you say it a little shorter? Okay, now that it's shorter, that first sentence feels too cheesy. Could you make that a little bit more formal? Okay, now that I've got it there, actually, here's some examples that I've sent before that had high response rates. Could you make it match that? And then, could you do something around the laws of influence with the laws of consistency and some social proof? Like that's sellers and leaders, those are the rabbit holes you need to be going down.
So good.
Is like, dude, I got some prompts in here of like, could you do something around some cognitive biases around ownership, the IKEA effect, and lab code, right? Of like, how can we bring in authority, social proof, but they feel like they're building it, and I want them to talk about their pain points more. Like, y'all, like play with this, but go down the prompt rabbit hole. Do not stop at the first one. Prompt it until you find that final one, and now you know how to start things throughout all of it. So I'll pause. Like I get fired up because this is where it gets exciting to me, is like you can put all sorts of stuff in here to get to that email. I'm telling y'all.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I mean, it's like, again, I use the, like, it's like you take mushrooms every day, where it just like kind of expands your mind. You're like, wait, what? Wait, oh no, now if I do that, that means actually, oh, there's this new use case for it. Oh, well, then I could do this, or I could do that. This prompt right here is a killer one, right? Just so you all know, another one, like a variation. Um, a variation is, I can copy and paste in someone's link to all their press releases. And I can say, hey, I'm trying to book a meeting with, here's their press releases. Here's a link to our product page that I sell for. Based on the press releases and the product link page, what are probably the top 2 priorities why they'd want to engage with me? Again, back to Katie's point, that would have taken me an hour and a half to look back and forth, as part of it.
I'm gonna jump in here real quick. So Brandon, yes is the answer. This works. I have data on 3 different campaigns and sequences that I have utilized to update. So one, bench is 100% been inbound pre me joining. Y'all know I got outbound in my blood. So like, we've started to dabble in there, and we've been using this to try to build those campaigns and taking pure cold outbound into SMB business owners talking about taxes, and going from sub 1% response rates to 4% response rates to 6% click-through rates, optimizing through these languages. We've done similar with our inbound emails, taking them, routing them through some of this to go and almost double up response rates in 2 of our main cadences. So this works if you do it. The key though is the iteration. Even bringing back, we did one, we brought the email back and said, this email didn't work. Can you give me some assumptions as to why?
There you go, Leo.
This email is not working. Could you give me some why would a bit like, and y'all want a power one? There's all these things that you can do, right, to like make it better. Give it stuff that isn't working and see if you can find out why. This email is not getting response rates from business owners. Why do you think that is? And play around with that. Take the oppo view on some of these things, right? So these are the things, y'all, you're gonna have to test it for yourself. We can't just give like prompts that are gonna 5x your response rates. You gotta take it
for some people, probably
your industry. And for some, y'all, like,
for some people sending, whatever it is, like it's gonna do it. Yeah. And actually, there's a good question in here too. So Leo also had for you, Brandon, by just doing some of this, is click through and open rate doubled, which is a good start. Lucy had a good question. So Lucy, if you can see my screen right here, you said, like, instead of going down the rabbit hole, is there a way to build more scalable prompts? Absolutely. 1, with custom instructions. So then you just kind of set it once, or 2, you can see what you do here. So with this prompt, all the rep has to do is say, here's who I'm meeting with. And, again, you could insert the PDF to their LinkedIn. The company, here's a link, and don't just send it to the company website, send it to like the about us or product, send it something there, and then industry. So Lucy, what you could just do is basically this type of rep. So again, like, yeah, here's the page, copy and paste their information. Again, how do they communicate? Educational, passion for AI and technology, summarizing the details. Then it's taking those details and turning it into a message, right? Again, like this, it's so funny, Katie. This is what I see. A lot of people do this, like your impressive journey. I don't like this. I'm not a fan of these types of openers, but I've seen this one a million times, from high school biology teacher to leading AI. Your dedication, enhancing is truly commendable. Sorry. At Skaled, we privilege of working with companies, top managers, blah, 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 giving your company's global reach and commitment to ethical adopt. This is better than 95% of emails people send. And this was 0 tweaking. And I don't think this is an A+ email. It's a B-, maybe a B.
Right. But it's B, but it's also still better. Like, sellers, I just have to call this out if we are being honest and we're in the nest. The data came out with 96% of sales emails are automated now. 96%. Think about that, y'all.
Yeah.
When we personalize, more often than not, we only personalize the first email, and that is it. And the rest are the follow-on emails. This allows you to personalize and use relevancy in every email. That's why I want you to put these things in your CRM, because now when you pull up whatever, Outreach, Apollo, Sales Loft, Groove, any of it, you've got that there. Email number 2. relevancy. Email number 3, relevancy, right? It's so important to do, right, to go through this. And I can't state that enough. It's like the fact, if all it took was automated emails, we wouldn't need salespeople. Sorry, get off my ledge for a second.
I mean, if you're doing it, I mean, you hit it on the head. Like, a lot of people are like, it will never replace salespeople. If you're just hitting send all, and I'm telling you already, this is better than 95% of the emails that I get, you don't work yourself out of a job, like, KD, we got a good question. Well, actually, Kirk first. Kirk, ChatGPT this, man. Any recommendation for using? Yes, of course, use this for subject lines. And again, you can also tell it, like, again, be more direct, be more concise, do it in 4, make sure to include one person, like, personalization point. Like, you could take it and say, write me a, whatever, for this. Here's an example too. Think of sequences. Hey, here's my sequence today. You can even upload your own sequence. Here's what our steps are. How could I make it better? Here's what the top performing ones are, right? And again, you're like, I need some ideas here. And again, I want you to just take, a look at this. It's like, include this in here, right? And it just kind of, a lot of this stuff too, what we're talking about, it just gets you thinking. It gets you started, as a part of that. So KD, I think this is a good one for you to answer. And we'll wrap up here in a second. Again, in my targets fintech, I sell a marketing automation platform. So then it even makes it better. So then it, like, prompt 1 is, here's what it is. Prompt 2, build it. Prompt 3, and again, you could just combine these into one too, just so you don't need to actually separate it out. Is then just say, like, here's what I sell. What are some things I should highlight in it, which I think is, a great place to start. So KD, as we wrap up here, maybe talk a little bit about some of those sequences. Like, again, the ones that you all are testing and using as well too.
Yeah. So, like, we're testing it in a few places. We are testing it in outbound at scale, right? So because of my market now being SMB, we're talking about millions of businesses. And so it's allowing us to create tailored, like, messaging based off the vertical industry better. For e-commerce businesses, that language is a little bit different than, like, restaurants. It's a little bit different than, like, mom and pop, like, medical, right? So we're doing it by industry. So a lot of things you just saw there. What language resonates, even things like this, y'all. This is why, like, I love Web Pilot. What are the top complaints of a small business owner when it comes to taxes? What are the top complaints of a private practice medical business owner when it comes to running their business? What shows up in the forums, right? Like, you tell it where to kind of go look for this information, right? So then now like, okay, this is how they complain about things online, not to you. So we're then building out the sequences around that. That's how I'm leveraging this.
I love that.
Is to find the language, put it all together, and connect the dots. And where I've been dabbling a lot is, like, telling it, back to custom prompts. Someone asked about subject lines, right? Like, I tell it, like, I want you to write subject lines like Dan Kennedy and Gary Halbert. So for those of y'all that don't know who those are some of the OGs in terms of direct response, like, marketing, right? They are like the OGs of the sales letters. It's like, I want you to respond like Dan Kennedy, Gary Halbert, right? Eben Pagan, the masters of copywriting, on subject lines that would catch the eye of a business owner who's struggling with why.
This is so good.
Like, I'm in my bag right now, y'all. Like, this is not stuff that I'm just, like, talking about. These are things, like, to do. That's what you do. And I saw the question in the chat, like, depends on the campaign that we're doing, right? The ones at scale, we're loading up a lot into its scale because we're just trying to build awareness and drive to a click. For my reps on, like, the inbound side, we're adding anywhere from 5 to 7 people per day. And then our nurture list as well, we are starting to leverage this for. So, like, and I don't know if Lydia, I don't know if it could write like Don Draper. We'll have to see. We'll have to plug that prompt in.
I'm sure it could. You could. All you'd have to do is, like, feed it you could pull a clip from YouTube and then feed it the messaging from there as well too, which I know would work. But again, like, hopefully what today did for a lot of you is just to realize the quality. There is no excuse to not write relevant, right? A minimum of relevant, like, very tailored to specific sub industry, a specific persona, and personalized content, and that we have to realize, if the way that we've been trying to hit outbound metrics is by hitting the more button, and you saw the stats, 80% on this, session here out of, like, 100 aren't hitting their numbers. More is not the answer. this is the answer. What KD and I are giving you right now will allow you to do more than like, if you wanted to make everything personalized, it will allow you to do some more. But just thinking that you're going to hit your number, like you said, 95% automated, it's not going to happen. It hasn't been working for at least 2+ years, and it's not going to work. That golden age of email only sequences in 2017-ish, 16, 17, maybe dipping into 18 is over. It's done. You have to give up all hope. It's not coming back. You have to be specific. You have to be relevant. Cutting through the noise, my friends, has never been easier. And again, with ChatGPT, cutting through the noise because nobody's doing it. ChatGPT, there's no excuse not to do it. And so hopefully, as you all, again, sign up for the Notion, start to play with some of these things as well too, you start to go deeper on this and you start to be able to you're going to see the results. And, when you join us in a couple of weeks, we want to hear about it. So Katie, jump in, give us your final thoughts.
I'm going to end with some sauce for the people that are still on here, right? Talk about like standing out. What if you created custom images for the prospect that you are targeting with Midjourney? What if you connected their logo to some type of image to what the relevancy of the problem? What if you created an image of them struggling with the problem that that they struggle with? What if you did, poems and raps that connected the dots between their company, their problem, and the school that they went to? What ChatGPT, and this is what I want to end with, it makes it easier to be creative. Okay?
I love that.
Okay. Write me a knock-knock joke that the CEO of Skaled would think is funny that could connect the dots to the problems and issues that we solve. Write me a Dr. Seuss type nursery rhyme.
Yep.
KD would think is funny and interesting based off his persona type, communication type, and like it makes it easier to be creative. Jake just said it. It's easier to stand out. But to stand out, you have to stand out. You got to look. What's happening right now with emails is they also all look the same. And because they all look the same, they don't get read. If it looks different, it also will pull in more eyeballs. So not all of us are creative like that. To write a poem, to write a rhyme, to write a nursery rap, to create images, right? Like I'll call her out real quick, Melissa Gaglione over at Deal, like big into video. She would create custom thumbnails for the people that she was reaching out to with her videos. Now you can do that in 45 seconds, right? To like make the thumbnail to get your video watched. So like, y'all, like, get creative, write the email, but then dabble. Have a little bit of fun with it. What could I turn that email into? That's the sauce.
Man, that is dope. I've never even thought. Yeah, because just so you all know, if you sign up for an OpenAI account, you also get access to DALL-E, which is theirs. And there's ones that people say are better, but I'm just envisioning a world where you open up ChatGPT, you run that, then you click over to DALL-E and you drop it in it and you say, write me an image based on this. Like, dude, it's so, again, guys, this will take you. If you actually were able to focus, I think you could do this in 2.5 minutes. Like, if you could just not just focus, write the prompt, do it. Hey, I'm trying to book a meeting. Here's a company product page, blah, blah, blah. That part might take a little bit, and then copy, paste, and then you'd get something.
And here, I want to actually end on this, y'all, and then we'll go. I know we're going long, but like this one gets me fired up. This is the stuff to invest the extra time in. This is what Jake and I are doing at night. This is what I'm spending time on Saturday, Sunday mornings, like to learn this stuff, because the payoff is going to be so significant in the long run. Invest in this, leaders, invest in this, right? Take the time to learn it now and let it blow up afterwards, right? Like it'll be worth it. I'm telling y'all right now, it'll be worth it.
Love it. Yes, you will get plenty. You will get plenty of this recording if you're signed up, so don't worry about that. You can also find it on mine and Katie's LinkedIn. Sign up. Y'all sign up for the Notion page, sign up for the workshops, like invest in yourself. These are not, again, look, Katie and I, this is not the home run from a money. Katie and I aren't trying to launch a bunch of, courses here. right? Instead, we're just trying to, provide as much value because we both believe that this is the future of sales and that the organizations that harness this will be the ones that succeed, and the ones that don't will not be as successful. They can't be because they won't be able to cut through the noise. They won't be able to make it happen. So thank you everyone for joining us. We will be off next week, and then we'll be back the week after talking about complex deals, closing more deals. Katie, you're the man. And we'll catch up with you specifically tomorrow, and I'll catch up with everyone else next week.
Okay.
Thanks, y'all.